Likutei Torah, excuse me, Parshas Nasso, 52, first column, like 10 lines into the paragraph, into the page. Okay, last thing out, Rabbi is explaining that in order to bring down this koyach of the save of kolam into mamalu kolam, it has to be only through milchama, which is the level of tefillah. And he explained the whole thing, Momata Lamaila, the way the neshama goes, the sulam going up and down. And then you have, through this you become B'chol Avavchem, even with the Nefesh Habamis, also on Tzelukus. So he says, L'kach, about 10 lines in the top. L'kach, tzorach la'asu mimata l'mayla b'tefillah. Therefore, in order to get to this level, to bind yourself to Hashem, because when you bind yourself to Hashem, then Hashem can have this revelation from above. So he says that has to be the Avodah. Sulam mutzav artav regei Hashemayma ad shemagil le'echad, until you come to the level of echad. And then Malachi Elokim Erlim v'yardim boy. He says, what is the boy? Into the Adam. The Malachim come in boy, not on the ladder, but boy into the Jew. Ki Adam Moshe Shakel. No, one second. We learned this already. 1 second. No, 1 second. Okay, you know what? We learned all the way to Gimel. I'm sorry. It's Gimel, the middle of the page. Vine Aliyah Sa'adam, the elevation of the person. No, we learned this also. 1 second. Oh, I know where we're up to. Okay. We're like 12 lines at the bottom of the first column. That's where we are. He says, okay, why is the person elevated? Because the person is where he wants to be. Davening is the wanting to be with Hashem. Like he said, Ava is Ava. Birds are singing praise to Hashem. Ava is from the word wanting, and therefore it has to be, and the last thing we learned was you take a seed in the ground, you bury it in the ground, and out comes this tremendous amount of vegetation. So he says the same thing. It says v'kachin eksiv zerati is Beis Yisrael. Hashem says in the pasuk, I plant Beis Yisrael, zera Adam v'zera behema. But Hashem uses the word on the Jews. He plants us in the body, which is like dirt, and we're covered in the Nefesh Habamis, but only through that can we sprout much greater levels than the seed itself. Yisrael and Bechinas Zriya. Hainu Zriyas Bechinas Elokus. But Hashem is planting the level of Elokus. Like it says, Baruch Hashem Lekei Yisrael. V'nim shchulamata be'elam agashmi. The neshama comes down into a gashmistic world. And they're buried literally in the koyach of the Nefesh Habamis. The koyach hamisavel dvarim gashmi and the desirable worldly things. Like zriyat mona mechus ba'afal. Why? Kadei sheyala v'yitzmach, that it should grow and elevate. B'teises zribi koyachas hanefesh hachiyunis, that even the nefesh habamis, the physical koyachas, should yalu gam hema, they should also be elevated. V'yizkalu lebecha because become one with echad.
Talking about a person?
Person. So the Alter Rebbe is saying that the neshama comes into the body. Hashem is planting the neshama, covered in the dirt of the nefesh habamis in the guf, and only through this can it produce more, that the neshama has an aliyah more than it was before it came down. What?
He asked a question yesterday.
Who asked?
Yaakov.
No.
Is Nefesh Habamis is going to go to Gehenna or not?
No.
No, I'm saying asking again.
You said it disintegrate.
I don't know what happened. I didn't see. You have to look up, maybe. Commandment, as like the Gemara says, Legolu Yisrael, like it is Shutei all of Gadim. It's a very strange Gemara. The Gemara says the reason why Hashem put the Jews into Gola is to get more converts, to have more Gadim. Now we know that the Jews don't go out to make Gadim. On the contrary, when they come, we try to push them away. So what does Gemara mean by saying the whole reason, Legalu Yisrael, the only reason of Galus was only to add Gadim? So Chassidus explains it doesn't mean Gadim. It means the sparks of Kedusha that were all over the world. So if all the Jews would be centered in Israel, how would the sparks of California and America and China and Russia and Europe and Asia, how would those sparks become elevated? They wouldn't be. So Hashem plants all the Jews in Golus throughout the world that we can elevate all the sparks of Kedusha. Therefore Hashem put man on earth to get life from the physical things that we eat and use, to elevate the koich and the chayis asher bahem. Lahachis nefesh kol chay, to give life to the human, kedei v'ruach kol bas b'chayis nefesh v'ruach adam i'ola l'mayla v'krishmo tefillah. And then, so in other words, like this, these daimim tzmei chay, all the sparks of kedusha are in the world. We elevate, we eat them, use them for life, so we elevate them. And then when we bring it up to kedusha, we are making everything in the world grow. Hashem is planting us in a way that we make everything else grow. Therefore, a person needs to daven every day, because every day we're a new creation. And therefore, this new creation needs to elevate all the sparks of Kedusha that we have in our existence. This bracha, which is from below, like he said, you have the Aveda below, and then that's what it says, V'yishmerecha. Yivarecha Hashem, he says like this, is to bring down Elokus. That's what he said before, Birchas Kohanim, right? And then V'yishmerecha, what does it mean? It means, Shitzricha Shima min HaMazikin. Yivarecha Hashem, excuse me, V'yishmerecha means, Rashi says, to guard us from the dangerous situations, from the mazikim. That's, how do we do that? How do you have shmira? Through our Aveda. In other words, the best defense is offense. See, if we want to be guarded, so the best way is to go push against evil. Then you automatically guarded against evil. That's that from this love that we have to Hashem, which by the way comes from the Gashmistic powers that we have by eating and drinking and all that stuff. So now evil can come along and say, hey, we made you do it, we helped you do it. So the Pasuk says, no, v'yishmerecha. We have to guard that evil shouldn't get a nourishment from this. Why? Because this love is affected in the nefesh ha'adam. The person shouldn't pat himself on the back and say, oh, look how great I am. I brought down Elokus into the world. Boasting. Why not? Why doesn't it work? Because the pasuk said, "Miyale bar Hashem, niki kapayim." You got to be clean. Bar leva, pure heart. If a person holds himself boasting from all this, belishum taru v'zar chas v'sholem. So therefore, he says like this: Yivarecha Hashem is Elokus coming down, but it needs to be guarded that this Elokus that comes down shouldn't give chayis to evil. Because then you're losing everything. By a person doing his Aveda down here becomes an awakening from above, like it says, Im Yosem Elav Libay. If you place your heart to Hashem, so then Ruach Aisir Ruach, one spirit brings another spirit, V'amshech Ruach, and then it becomes Yar Hashem Panav Elachmu Ma'il Lamat. In other words, first it starts Mumat Olamayla. And he says, first he explained the whole thing, Yivarechecha, that's the level of tefillah, which is Aveda Mumata L'maylis. And then when we bring down this Gili through davening, we have to daven v'yishmerecha that it shouldn't have, the evil shouldn't get too much power from it. And when we do that, then Yor Hashem Panav Elecha. Then the Aveda, the person is a Keli, that Hashem should shine his Gilui to him, to the person.
Continence.
To his countenance, yes.
Didn't you say that everything initiates from above?
Yeah, but that's only the power, the ability to do it.
Level of Shia for Matzah too, for Pesach.
Shmartem mitzvah matzahs. The matzah before chatzos could become chametz.
Right.
He says, "Shul k'meichef it's mishtaykem mevakish." What is the person asking for? Yared Hashem. We're asking that Hashem should shine His countenance. She'egili yer salboch v'neid mavatu l'mayla k'mei l'mayla mamish. Just like it is l'mayla, only elokus kach yom shachmo mayla ha'amshach es order gili zau shul mevakish. That is what we're requesting should be revealed to us. What is that? Yoed Hashem Panav, in a level of a hardest Panim, shining His face, which is a level of Chachma, like the Pasuk says, Chachmas Adam Torah Panav. Shlomo Melech was a very smart man. He says, Chachmas Adam, the Chachma of a person, is shining on his face. What Shlomo Melech means simply, you can look at somebody and see if they're a fool or they're intelligent. No, that's what it means. You can look at a person, you see he has a smart face, a stupid face. But it also means, Chachmas Adam Torah Panav, the Gemara says, they once found Rabbi, very exciting, laughing, smiling, all that stuff. And why? They asked him, what are you so upset? Matzah tesefta chadata. He found a new braisa he never heard before. So his face was beaming. That's in the simple also meaning. Chachmas Adam Torah Panav, when a person gets this level of Chachma, but then it's, brainstorm, whatever it is. And then he says, the Hainu, he has Gili Koyach Ma. Chachma is Koyach Ma. Be'eneid Mulvadi. Ezel Chachma Resa Neilad. What is simply a Chacham, when the Gemara says, the Mishnah Pirkei Avos says, Ezel Chachma Lemid Mikol Adam. The Gemara in Talmud says, he sees the future. Simply it means that when you do something, you don't look at the now, you see the outcome of it. The simple mashal is, you have a food that really hurts you bad. You get sick from it, but you like it. So a fool will eat it, because right now they don't think about half an hour from now. They think now it tastes good. A chacham won't eat the food. He enjoys it now, but it's not worth the 10-minute enjoyment to suffer 3 weeks, right? But Chassidus explains, what does it mean, a chacham reis and neilad? Neilad means the way Hashem is mechadesh betuvei b'chol yom tamid. He sees the neilad, what's constantly being recreated, born. Constantly recreated, so in other words, the chacham, who's a chacham, he sees the elokus in everything. V'kula kamekla kivzarut sedel Shema Yisrael, an awakening from above, which is Shema Yisrael. What is Shema? In English, it's translated Hero Israel, but Shema means Havana. There's a passage that says, Daber ki shemei avdecha. Chassidus always brings it down. Speak because your servant is listening. It doesn't mean I'm listening. It means I'm understanding you. Shema means understanding. Bina. And you can't compare understanding something to seeing something. When you understand something, seeing is, as the expression goes in English, seeing is believing. Something you see is more one with you, it becomes more one with you than if you understand it. It's very simple. If I understand something, somebody who's smarter can prove to me that I don't understand it. But if I see something, I see it, You could bring me a million proofs it's not there, but I saw it. That's the level of Re'iyah, and therefore we learned, the Rabbi explains in Chassidus, it says, there's a halacha, and ein eid nasa dayin. In capital punishment, a witness cannot become the judge. In other words, if a judge saw a murder, he can't sit on the bezdin to judge it. What's better than that? Like this, you hear it from the witnesses, but you saw it yourself. What's better than that? So that's dafka the reason why it's not. Because the Torah says, V'shaftu ha'eda, v'hitzilu ha'eda. The Torah says you have to judge and be able to find the schus. Once you see it, you'll never find the schus. You're already impartial. You're impartial because you saw it. And Torah says that you have to be unbiased. Where does this gili of Chochmah come from? Torah. Which is Chochmah, which is the Chochmah of Hashem. But this wisdom of Hashem comes into the physical world like Zroyim, Mayed. Right? Torah comes into Gashmiistic things, all the Shisha, the 6 orders of Mishnah. It's like, therefore, Torah is like in Tamayim, Sheyodem Makom Geveir LaMakom Nomuch. Like water that goes from the high place to a low place. And Chassidus explains it's not stam that water goes from a high place to a low. The same water up there is down here. I mean, the water can get dirty along the way, but the water is the same. The same Torah up there is what comes down there. And that's what it says in Asati Mitan Artsechem. Hashem says, I will give the rain of your land, like it says in Yeshaya and Naftayla on the fast day. Kasher Yedid Agashem Hashalem in Hashemayim, the Pasuk says over there. Just like this, the rain comes down, rain and snow. Kachia Dvore Asher Yetzim Ipi. The same thing Hashem says, and that's the pasuk over there in Yeshaya. The same, just like rain comes down, rain and snow comes down, the same thing, my words that come out of my mouth, Hashem says, Shaydei b'chinas motazeh, through this rain, meaning through Torah that comes down, v'asafta deganecha, you will gather, like you said before, gather from all the sparks all over the world. That's why, like we said, we're in Golus, like we just learned today. So therefore, then you'll be able to gather all the sparks of Kedusha and make the world a private domain of Hashem. To have the Gili and to be one with the world, with one with Hashem, and that's what it says, the Yichuneka. Right? Hashem should shine this Pnimis. V'yichuneka, what does chuneka mean? The word chen, which means charm, but it also comes from the word chania, camping. V'yichuneka means Hashem should bring it down into our campings, meaning down here, where we're camping. Lashon chania, like it said, V'yichun Sham Yisro, or Chana David, the camping of David, then be either Shachanti B'Seichem, Dira B'Tachtenim, Dira Svashras Erintzal Baruch Mamish, a dwelling place in the resting of the Shechina in Gili Mamata Kamei L'Mayla. So this is what we're asking. Through us, through Tefillah, which is Yevarechecha, like you said before, davening Baruch, Baruch Atah, Baruch Atah, Baruch, all the brachas, that's Yevarechecha. But it has to, because we're asking, bringing Elokus down, it has to be V'yishmerach. We have to guard it that this Gili from above shouldn't nourish evil. And then what happens when we have that Mulmata L'mayla, we accomplish the Sulam, connecting Shemaima and Aretz, then Hashem says, Yoyer Hashem Panarelach, then we're going to have the Gili in a Pnimius. But in a way, Vichuneka is going to be in your camp, meaning down here. And that's the level of Birchas HaMazon. Remember, at the beginning of the Maimon, Al Rebbe said, he quoted the Gemara. The Gemara says, the Malachim come to Hashem, and they say, I don't understand. It says internally, Yisaponim, you don't have favoritism, Yet by Berachas Koyim it says, Yisa Hashem panav elacha. Hashem has favoritism. So the Gemara answers, Hashem said to them, I tell the Jews, only if you're full you bench. And they do it even on a Kedayas. So I shouldn't have favoritism. They go above and beyond the letter of the law. So he says, so the Alter Rebbe at the beginning asks, what's the connection between Birchas Koyanim and benching? So now the Alter Rebbe says, the whole inyan of Birchas Koyanim is to bring down Elokus in a pnimius, Panav Elacha, through Chochmas Adam Torah Panav, right, through Torah, in a way Vichoneka comes in, and that's exactly the Birchas HaMazon. Hamshachas Gilu Elokus Mamayla Al Koychas V'chayish and Eschadish Adam B'Maichel. What's the inyan of benching? Benching is, we ate, we get more koyach now from the food. So benching means bringing down that koyach of Elokus down into the koyach of the food that we just ate. That's exactly Berachas Koyanim. Bringing down Elokus into our chuneka, into our existence. That's exactly the inyan bench, and that's the Gimel brachas of the Reise of the Rabbanon. Right, we know the first three brachas are Minat Torah. The last one the Rabbanon added later. Dalit pam baruch atali esnim shebechinas gili benefesh ube'olam, to bring it down into the nefesh and in the world leneichach directly ata, directly here. All three of them. Well, he didn't do Yisa yet. That's in the next Dalit, he'll do Yisa. Don't wait, I know if we'll get there.
It's only thanking Hashem for giving us that food.
Yeah, but it's more than that. Not only is it thanking Hashem, we're actually bringing down, we're telling Hashem, now that we ate, we need the godly power that the food that we eat should go the right way. I don't mean health-wise, and that we should be able to use it for Kedusha, and evil shouldn't have any nourishment from it. Because evil can come along, food is evil, right? It's klipas nugget. Food can come along and say, hey, guys, I'm a partner here. Because of me, you're able to learn a daven. So therefore, I should get the klipa, should get some koyach. So he said, no, it shouldn't come into klipa. What? Shaydei and Nizbar and if it was until now was clear Pisnaiga, and then it becomes only in Kedusha, Timei Machalain Sabrach. He says, Amnam Zel Mechel Kadei Severe Daika. That's only though, biblically, it's when do you bench? When you're full. Meaning, Sh'oz Lechem Levav Enish Yisod. Lechem makes the person Yisod full. Shaydei Alechem Yechye Chayi Nafshi. Through bread will live the Chayi Vekul Benafshi, which is Nechle Bekedusha. The food becomes part of Kedusha, and it becomes one Bechinas Gilir and Tzabach. Okay? But what happens in Ein Eichel Kadei Sviya, where you're not full? So then you're not Shaloi Locha Nefesh. Then the Nefesh only took from the Gashmistic of food a little bit. You're not full, it only took a little bit. Ein Koyach B'chai Zeh, Shein Be'elam Miyad Kedusha. So therefore, the little food has a little Kedusha. Food has this from Teil, right? Food comes in the world of Teil. The world has an unbelievable amount of Kedusha. But the more you eat, that's why people eat a lot, I guess, to justify what they're doing. But the problem is they're eating for the wrong reasons, so they're lowering it in the klipa. But he's saying, so when you eat more, so you have more Kedusha. So then it makes sense, you're bringing down the Kedusha. But if you're not full, you only eat a Kazayas, so you only have a little bit of Kedusha in the food, so it's very little, to become part of Kedusha. That's why he says, Yisa Hashem Panav Elacha. Hashem will Yisa Hashem Panav. Hashem will give the content meaning, Yagbiya Lamaila Panav. Hashem will, not, it's Panav, it's Hashem's Panav, not our Panav. B'chein is gil the ashpa, which is called panim. And acharaim is the ashpa behest panim, like you throw it over the shoulder. So Hashem is saying like this: Yis Hashem panav elecha, Hashem will shine His pnimis, that even that little bit of food, the little bit of kedusha that you're being mamshich, Hashem will elevate it to a very lofty place, as if you had a lot.
A little bit of work that we do?
Huh?
A little bit of what?
No, the little bit of food that we eat. So it's a little bit of food, a little bit of kedusha. Hashem will make that as if it's a lot.
So we say, we have the food in front of us, we say bracha to begin with.
Right.
And then we say the bracha
Afterwards.
Afterwards. But now you're saying, not even after these two bracha, there's still something else is going on, that after the two bracha, that they could go to the negativity rather than going.
No, that's the bracha afterwards. In other words, like this: the bracha before eating is to bring down the kedusha, that the food that we're eating for the right purpose to serve Hashem. So then we elevate the sparks of kedusha, and that causes the gilui momaila, right? And now Hashem reveals Himself to us. The bracha after eating is to make sure that this kedusha that came down through the food eating and the bracha l'shem shemayim shouldn't go to the wrong places.
How could you go to the wrong place now?
Because once there's a revelation of kedusha, evil likes to get part of the action. And not only that, the evil says the food, in other words, that we eat is not kedusha. We elevate it to kedusha, but the food that we eat says, "Hey, guy, who gives you the koyach to daven and learn? I want 50% partners." Yeah, that's the connection between benching and Birchas Kohanim. Just like Birchas Kohanim is bringing down Kedusha in a way that evil shouldn't get nourished from it. So what's Birchas Hamazon? That the Kedusha we brought down through eating
So at the level of
doesn't go to evil.
So at the level of Malchus, it still could go to negativity.
Correct.
And then what was Esau?
Yisa is, even though there's a little bit of Kedusha, so Hashem elevates it, that this little bit becomes panim rather than over the shoulder. In one second. In other words, there's a contradiction. One Gemara says a person's judged Rosh Hashanah. How much food, how much. Then another Gemara says Adam Didim B'chol Yain. We're judged every day. So when is it? Is it Rosh Hashanah of every day? There's a lot of answers in this. But one answer Chassidus always brings is very simple. On Rosh Hashanah, you judge how much money you're going to make for the year. Okay, let's say $100. Yeah? Every day, you judge where the money is going to go. In other words, the money can go to doctor bills, fix a leaky roof, or to kvetch, or it can go to something. Also, a person sometimes can have a bracha, beirach es lachmecha ves meimecha, Hashem will bless the food, meaning a little bit of food will fill you. There's also a bracha. Sometimes you have to fress a lot to get full, or sometimes Hashem give you a bracha. You eat a little bit, and you also get full.
Is that why tzaddikim don't eat too much?
That's why they don't eat too much, yeah. One of the million reasons why they don't eat too much.
Rabbi, this is a major change in our thinking, because you learn at the level of Malchus, you put the seed in the
Ground.
and the seed gets born, and the apple tree comes out.
Right.
And right now you're teaching us, no, that's not the way it's going to work, because at the time of germinate, it may become an apple or may not become an apple.
No, it will for sure come an apple. You plant.
No, if there is no blessing of the Hashem, what you're saying, if there is no blessing of Hashem at that level, even at that level, it may go to negativity.
But there is a bracha of Hashem. The plant, like the Yerushalmi says, Maimin b'chaye olam v'zoreya. When a person plants, before he plants, The Yerushalmi says the person believes in God and then he plants, because planting is depending on the rain, on the circumstance. It could be a hurricane, it could be a tornado. You won't have anything.
Some people plant and nothing comes out. Some people have a green thumb. They plant.
Some people are non-believers and they still plant and they
Okay.
Wow.